The stupidest terrorist attacks in history. The underwear bomber. Picture this. It's Christmas Day 2008. You're on the Northwest Airlines flight 253 to Detroit, probably dreading the awkward family conversations awaiting you, when suddenly the guy next to you tries to set his own crotch on fire. Meet Umar Farouk Abdulmalatab. This man couldn't think of a better way to hide a bomb than in his underwear. Not a briefcase, not a shoe, his actual underwear. The so-called underwear bomber managed to smuggle PETN explosives onto the plane, which is honestly the most successful part of his whole operation. When the time came for the grand finale, his bomb literally just gave him a crotch burn. That's it. The only thing he attacked was his own balls. Just imagine training for months, pledging allegiance to Al-Qaeda, securing international travel, and your entire terrorist career ends with you putting out flames on your own junk while passengers tackle you. But wait, Abdulmutallab wasn't the first genius to try hiding bombs in unusual places. The shoe bomber. In December 2001, Richard Colvin Reid boarded American Airlines Flight 63 from Paris to Miami with explosives tucked into his sneakers. It was a good time when you weren't forced to take your shoes off during a security check. His brilliant detonation plan was simple: sitting in his seat and trying to light his shoes on fire with a match in front of everyone on a plane. And the best part is that his shoes were damp from rain, so the matches wouldn't light properly. Picture this dude frantically striking matches on his stinky, wet shoes while passengers stare in horror. Flight attendants noticed him, because of course they did, and passengers tackled and subdued him using belts, headphone cords, and sedatives from a doctor on board. Their teamwork was actually better than any team I have ever had in Rainbow Six Siege. And the reason I hate shoe bombers so much is because now we all have to take our shoes off at the airport security. Thanks, Richard, you failed at terrorism but succeeded at making air travel even more annoying. But maybe bombs aren't your style. Maybe you're more of a DIY type who wants to build your own explosive devices. The neo-Nazi explosion. In 2015, white neo-Nazi suprematist Michael O'Neill was hanging out in his garage in Niagara County, New York, making pipe bombs, as one does when they have absolutely no valuable contributions to society. But he wasn't just building any bombs, he was crafting what he probably thought were masterpieces of destruction. But instead, they were ticking time bombs of irony. While working on his little project, something went wrong. A fire broke out, and O'Neill, displaying the critical thinking skills typical of neo-Nazis, decided to stamp out the fire. You know, the fire connected to explosives. Let me repeat that. He tried to stomp out a fire on an explosive device with his foot. I don't know what they teach in neo-Nazi school, but basic fire safety clearly isn't on the curriculum. The inevitable happened, and O'Neill's leg was gone, though not as fast as my ex. When police arrived, they found not only his bomb-making materials, but also his collection of neo-Nazi gear, which I'm sure became much less intimidating when displayed next to the crater where his leg used to be. The only good thing, no one else was hurt, which is generally the opposite goal of terrorism. Speaking of recovering from your skill issue, performance art. Let's talk about Northern Ireland, 2006. Michael Stone, already a convicted terrorist with a history of actual successful attacks, low bar, I know, decided to storm the Northern Irish Assembly. His weapons of choice? A fake gun and a bomb that wouldn't detonate. It's like if I brought a Nerf gun for a bank robbery and expected to be taken seriously. Security guards quickly tackled Stone at the entrance. And here's where it gets hilarious. When caught, he claimed the whole thing was just performance art. That's right, he pulled the "it's just a prank, bro" defense for terrorism. Honestly, I'm doing the same thing when yet another girl rejects me. I'm just saying, I wasn't actually asking you out, you know. And you're meat anyways, the Facebook terrorist. Speaking of performance art, let's talk about 2014's most embarrassing would-be terrorist. The guy who tried to organize attacks through a public Facebook page. Yes, you heard that correctly. A Texas man created a Facebook page called American Insurgent Movement to recruit people for various attacks. Just imagine the Facebook event. Violent insurrection against the government. This genius went with the solid plan of publicly posting his terrorist manifesto where literally anyone could see it. It's like putting up a billboard saying, "Crimes happening here," with your home address and convenient visiting hours. Shockingly, he was arrested before any of his plans materialized. Who could have possibly seen that coming? Oh right, everyone who saw his Facebook page. But what happens when the internet doesn't just expose terrorists, but actually creates them? In 2016, Edgar Madison Welch took internet conspiracy theories a bit too seriously. He heard about Pizzagate, the completely unfounded claim that a DC pizza restaurant called Comet Ping Pong was harboring a child trafficking ring in its basement. So naturally he did what any rational human being would do. Grabbed an AR-15, drove from North Carolina to Washington DC, and stormed the restaurant to save the children. Let's forget the fact that Comet Ping Pong doesn't even have a basement. Welch fired shots inside the restaurant, terrifying customers and employees, before realizing there were no child prisoners to rescue, just people trying to enjoy some pizza and ping pong. He surrendered to police shortly after. This is exactly what happens when you get your news from Reddit threads and your tactical training from Call of Duty. The only conspiracy was how anyone could believe something so obviously false in the first place. But I already know the answer. My friend keeps going on about puppet masters and microchips in our arms or whatever conspiracy BS he's on this week. People just need drama. Speaking of doing just for fun. The Achille Lauro hijacking. In 1985, Palestinian terrorists from the Palestine Liberation Front hijacked the cruise ship Achille Lauro in the Mediterranean. While this attack tragically resulted in the murder of a disabled passenger, it stands out for its complete lack of strategic thinking. The hijackers demanded the release of Palestinian prisoners in Israel, but they had no actual plan for how to leverage the situation. They were essentially floating around the Mediterranean with the hostage ship. No clear endgame, and rapidly diminishing options. The terrorists surrendered to Egyptian authorities, who promised them safe passage, but then allowed the US Navy jets to force their escape plane to land in Italy. Whoops, the entire operation achieved nothing beyond media attention, and the perpetrators ended up in prison. It's almost like randomly attacking civilians doesn't actually advance political causes. The Kangaroo bomb. Just when you thought we had reached peak stupidity, allow me to introduce you to the 2015 Australian Kangaroo bomb plot. Teenager Sevdet Ramadan Besim had what he thought was a foolproof plan: capture a kangaroo, strap explosives to it, paint it with ISIS symbols, and set it loose on police during an Anzac Day event. Let's break down all the problems with this plan. 1. Capturing a wild kangaroo. Did you even see those things? They will literally crush you. 2. Somehow keeping it calm while you strap bombs to it. 3. Painting ISIS symbols on angry, bomb-laden kangaroo. 4. Expecting it to hop toward police instead of, I don't know, literally anywhere else. The plan was foiled before Basim could even find a kangaroo willing to participate in his nonsense. Moving from broke teenagers to wannabe terrorists with millions in funding. Failed bioweapons. In 1990s, Japanese cult Aum Shinrikyo tried to develop biological weapons using botulism and anthrax. Despite having actual scientists in their ranks and millions of dollars in funding, they somehow managed to use harmless or vaccine strains of these pathogens. The result, they didn't kill anyone. They accidentally immunized people against anthrax. That's right, they accidentally ran a free vaccination program. Imagine being so bad at bioterrorism that you end up contributing to public health. The cult later switched to chemical weapons for their infamous 1995 Tokyo subway attack. But their bioweapon failures remain a testament to the fact that even with the resources and education, some people just can't get terrorism right. By the way, if you want to see a video about cults, check out this video next. But bomber. But let's get to my favorite part. I wish I was making this up, but in 2008, Al-Qaeda decided the perfect assassination method was to hide explosives in someone's rectum. Abdullah Hassan Tali al-Asiri volunteered to be the human bomb in an attempt to kill Saudi Prince Mohammed bin Nayef. After getting through security, metal detectors don't typically scan inside body cavities. Al-Asiri detonated his explosive payload. The result? He blew himself to bits while the prince suffered only minor injuries. Al-Qaeda later claimed the attack as a success in their propaganda, conveniently leaving out that their target walked away with a band-aid, while their operative was scattered across the ceiling. The caramel bomb. In 2006, a group in Germany decided to make bombs using caramelized sugar and fertilizer. They thought the key to effective terrorism was essentially making deadly candy. The amateur chemists hid sugar on their stove, attempting to create caramel to mix with their other ingredients. As anyone who's ever made caramel knows, it's actually pretty easy to mess up. These kitchen terrorists overheated their sugar mixture, causing it to explode prematurely in their apartment. The small explosion alerted neighbors, who called police, foiling the plot before it could even progress further. These guys literally couldn't even make caramel without blowing themselves up. The sports ice pack. Our final entry takes us to Birmingham, UK, 2013, where a group of extremists came up with what they thought was a brilliant workaround for getting bomb ingredients. Extract ammonium nitrate from sports ice packs. There was just one tiny problem. The ice packs they bought didn't contain ammonium nitrate. These criminal masterminds later managed to lose most of their funds gambling online. So next time, if you're going to commit evil, maybe bring at least one brain cell. Now smash that subscribe button harder than a neo-Nazi stomps on explosive devices, and watch this video next so that I could buy a new microphone.